Before this video starts, I just want to say Epic Games, thank you so much for giving me everything that I have, allowing me to make content on this game, giving me a supporter creator code, all these things. I'm forever grateful for that. I just have a few things that I want to talk about regarding your game, and I just want to critique you guys, and hopefully you take what I say into account, okay? Yeah, drop a like on this video if you guys agree with anything I say, and hopefully, you guys can comment down below your perspective as well. And yeah, enjoy the video. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Kiwiz, bringing you guys a very different kind of Fortnite video. I felt actually pretty inspired by SypherPK. If you guys don't know who SypherPK is, I'll let you guys check out his channel in the description. He's another Fortnite YouTuber who's actually doing very well right now. And he had a couple things to say about the current state of Fortnite, his opinion, and kind of vouched for basically the community, and I kind of wanted to almost add in my own opinion. I have some, maybe not some different takes, maybe I have some more ways to, like, if anybody from Fortnite watches this video, hopefully you can take what I say, maybe with a grain of salt, obviously, because I'm not a genius or anything, but hopefully I can inspire Epic Games to maybe make some changes, or just plant the seed in their head to maybe change something. I think it's very important. I have a lot of people that watch me, and I have a platform to do this, so I feel like I should. I don't know. I just, it also affects me a lot because I play Fortnite every day, and I am as well kind of like SypherPK, where I do the casual videos. I host Fortnite fashion shows sometimes. I do 1v1 tournaments for money casually, and I also have played in FNCS World Cup qualifiers, things like that. I love competitive Fortnite. I'm in prac cord, like, I'm on both sides of the spectrum, and I know what people on both sides of the spectrum want. In the description, you can see the timestamps of things I'm going to be talking about. Also, you can see it on the screen. I'm going to try and structure this video as best as I can, and I'm going to address all of the issues in Fortnite, how I think maybe we can take a step forward to fixing them, why I think it's important, and yeah, we're just gonna go from there. So number one, let's talk about all the issues with Fortnite today, okay? Like, what is the main problem Fortnite is facing? The main issue Fortnite as a game is facing right now is the hate and the backlash. I don't even want to say hate, just the criticism from its content creators, casual players even, and pro players, and they're all separate different reasons why. Every single person from each category has a different reason why they're upset. Content creators can't even make funny videos anymore because every single game is literally a sweat fest. We'll get into more about that later. Casual players don't even want to hop on Fortnite because there's nothing casual about Fortnite anymore. Like, on the outside, it looks like a fun, wholesome game with bright colors, and it looks like a kid's game. It's casual, wholesome. It's the complete opposite if you are actually inside the community. There's nothing casual about this game anymore unless you just play creative and do the challenges or Team Rumble. There's nothing casual about it. And then you have the pro players who are constantly complaining about server issues, controller players, obviously. We'll dive deeper into that later in the video. Ping, internet, if you have 0 ping, you're at a higher advantage. The coin flip doesn't work. The loot pool isn't consistent. The meta is absolutely terrible. Communication, all things that pro players are very upset about. The prize pools, oh god, like the way that Epic Games has split the prize pools, these are all things that are issues to them. So, and I'm gonna try to voice everybody's issues as well as my own in this video. So those are the problems that the game faces today, and yeah, let's move on. So one big thing I want to talk about is communication with Fortnite. The Epic Games developers have completely cut off all communication with us. I honestly, this is the thing that I think I struggle with the most, and it's so hard for me to want to play a game where the developers and the company as a whole really just, it seems like, almost doesn't respect the player base, that doesn't care to update us on what's going on, doesn't care to promote their in-game events anymore, doesn't care to basically give us any sort of any communication, bro. Like, nothing. They took out patch notes a long time ago, and I don't know why they did this. Honestly, I think them taking out patch notes is a big slap in the face to all of the players And maybe they did that because a lot of people were complaining about the game. A lot of people were complaining about the updates, saying like, oh, this update was bad. But I mean, you're going to get that with any game. Everybody's going to have something to complain about, right? I mean, patch notes are an essential part of game updates. Like, we need to know what's happening, especially if you're a competitive player, if you're a pro player, or if you like rely on this game for a living. People need to know what's going on with the game. People like, how do we know if the servers are being fixed today or tomorrow, or you guys are even attempting to fix the servers, or if you guys are even aware that the servers are terrible, or that maybe you made this little slighted judgment to the heavy sniper, or that you're taking heavy snipers out of competitive, or you added this in, or this, or whatever. Like, how are we supposed to know these things? We have to literally rely on these Twitter accounts and these websites and these YouTube videos telling us things that sometimes aren't even 100% accurate and can spread false information. Like, how are we supposed to know the little small updates that you guys do? Like, we don't. And it's so hard to like want to play a game that does that, because it's like, it just feels the same every day. Nothing's changing. At least it feels like it, because there's no communication. And it feels like Epic Games, it feels like you guys don't care enough to tell us what you're doing. Or maybe it's out of spite for how the community has treated you, which, yeah, the community has been very immature at times. But as a company and fan base, like, this to me is the most important thing out of everything I'm going to list in this video. I don't understand why we don't get updates on anything. Tell us one thing, you do the next. We have no idea what the plans are for this year regarding competitive. And, you know, you've never made a statement on skill-based matchmaking. You know, I don't know, man. I just feel like, in my mind, how Epic Games feels, I feel like this is how they feel. I feel like, they'll sign on and play the game anyway. We don't need to update it. They can figure it out for themselves, whatever. And it's just like, that to me is very like it just sucks, bro. As a player, as a content creator, as a pro player, just as anyone, like what happened? Like, you used to be so communicative, bro. Like, back in season 1, season 2, season 3, even up to like season 8, bro, like the communication was on par. Literally listened to the community so well. And that was one thing that drew a lot of people to Fortnite. It was amazing. So my solution to this, patch notes every week whenever there's an update. If you have to explain yourself to the community, if you made a mistake, or if you feel like the community is wrong about something, explain it in a blog post. Tell us something. Explain it. Just do it. Who cares? Like, then we would have an understanding of what's going on, because maybe like Epic Games, maybe on your guys' end, you feel like everything's good, whatever. But on our end, we have no idea what's going on. Everything's just dark. It's sad. I miss when Epic Games used to do those video updates and like show us in video on like Twitter and YouTube of like new things added in the game. They would have like the developer actually physically on camera, and then there would be like a video right here showing everything. Like, he's just sitting there talking about everything that's changed. Well, that's great. Where is that at now? I miss those things, bro. I think that would be great. So this part of the video, we're going to mainly talk about skill-based matchmaking. And if you guys don't really know what skill-based matchmaking is, it's basically you play people in the game, you queue up with other people. Like, if I wanted to go into a solo, I would only get matched up against people with similar stats to mine, or maybe just a little bit better or worse, you know, literally like right in that range. So I'm a pretty good player, right? I've been playing Fortnite since season 1, literally since the very beginning. And I have a lot of wins. I have a lot of kills. I have a pretty decent win rate. I'm going up against kids that are very good. And it makes it very hard to create content. Obviously, I don't mind sweating when I'm just playing by myself. But if I'm trying to record a video, or if I just want to hop on with friends or have some fun, it's almost impossible to do that now, because I'm going up against kids that are literally trying to be the next Mongrel, or trying to win every single game. People that don't create content, or not even that. Maybe they don't even want to be the next Mongrel. The only reason they are sweating is because they know everyone else in their lobby is insanely good. Nobody's playing casual in pubs. I'm going to tell you right now why skill-based matchmaking is a problem. Number one, the main issue with skill-based matchmaking, obviously, is the game no longer becomes a casual game anymore. It's not casual. Like, as much as you want to say it's casual, The only thing casual about skill-based matchmaking is maybe the first few games you have when you're a brand new player. You're going to be going up against bots, AIs, players that don't really know what they're doing. But as soon as you reach a certain skill gap, as soon as you get a win rate that's high enough, you're going up against players that are insane. They're so good at the game. Every fight becomes something where you have to focus, sit down, and try. And the odds of you winning those games, playing casually, like trying to just have a good time and drop some kills and stuff, are very slim. Honestly, there's 100 good players in that lobby. Like, what are the chances that you're going to 50-50 every single good player and win? It's like playing an arena game, but without arena. Soon enough, those new players are going to get good enough, go up against the psychos, and then it's a never-ending cycle. Then those players stop playing. The content creators are pushed away because nobody wants to sweat and stream against sweaty players. And you can't make funny video. Like, imagine C-Day trying to make a video nowadays in the climate that Fortnite's in. C-Day's videos were predominantly about like trolling default skins and players that didn't really know how to play the game, which is like funny content, right? You can't do that nowadays. You go into a pub game, everyone's trying, there's only like 5 people left going into like second zone. You literally hop on, you get a couple kills off spawn, and the whole lobby's wiped. You're running for the rest of the game, kind of just doing nothing, and it's just boring. Can't really do random duos, because if you do random duos, you're just matched up against a sweaty player who doesn't really want to have fun. He kind of just wants to win, do call outs, no content there. And not to mention that, but every single other duo you run into in that game is also going to be sweaty. So here are the benefits of removing skill-based matchmaking. Public matches start to become casual again. And I know Epic Games wants to protect and preserve the newer players or the kids that aren't that good, which is fine. I understand that. I understand why skill-based matchmaking is in the game, but that is completely ruining the aspect of a public match. It's completely, at that point, what is the point of Arena then? Arena is literally a public match just with like a point incentive that actually doesn't even really have a point incentive, because getting in a champion league is actually very easy, especially with all the hype nights going around. So Arena isn't even like something you really want to. No one really plays arena. I mean, what I expect when I go into a public match, a solo, duo, whatever, is I want to be able to go up against any skill level. I want to be able to go up against somebody who's just as good as Booga in one game. Next game, maybe I'll go up against some kid that really he's not that good at the game, right? I want to go up against all different kinds of skills. That's what makes it fun. The experience is always different every single game. One game I get really close to winning. One game I stomp on the whole lobby. The next game, maybe I get pooped on by somebody who's really good. This will also increase the amount of people that are alive in the game by far. A lot of people think adding a lot of worse players in the game that a lot of people will die quicker, but it's actually a known fact that if you actually go into worse lobbies, there's more people alive in a public match than there is if you're in a public match with very good players. All good players are going to do is die off spawn, be aggressive, and W key in a public match. That's why there's only like 10 people alive first zone in a skill-based matchmaking lobby. However, if you get matched up against a bunch of kids who are just kind of casually having fun, there's like still 30 people alive first zone in a pub game. There's still relatively enough people because the good players are landing all around the map. Maybe they're kind of scared to fight. It makes a better fun playing experience instead of just running around and not finding anybody the whole entire game. Removing skill-based matchmaking is going to allow content creators to be able to make funny videos. It's going to allow the good players to shine and actually be able to make good pub stomping videos and still occasionally run into a very good player who could kill them. This is also going to allow the casual player or the newer player to go up against people that are still his skill level, but also still having the chance to matchmake in a game with me or even like SypherPK or just anyone in their community. They could run into Ninja for like, that was such a cool part about like playing Fortnite. Like, it just makes the playing experience so much more fun. But Epic Games is going to say, well, how can we make sure the new players stay in? Because the game mechanics in Fortnite are so advanced now. It's like, how is a newer player going to want to still play Fortnite if he just goes into a public match and gets pooped on by somebody? Well, I can tell you that right now. This is how to keep in new players in Fortnite. You offer in-game tutorials similar to games like, I don't know if CS has in-game tutorials, but I know Valorant has like an in-game tutorial when you literally just load up into the game. What if there was like a set of in-game tutorials on how to like build a 1x1, turtle, ramp, things like that. Things that are very basic, but only the things that you really need to know to play a pub game. It's not like you're tunneling in a pub. You know what I mean? These are things that
a new player can learn so quick just by hopping onto the game, and he doesn't have to watch a YouTube video. It's literally right there for him if he's a new player. And those can be accessible to anybody, whether you're new or not. It's just in the game. That's something I don't understand why Fortnite doesn't have something like that. Like a nice little in-game video tutorial for just simple techniques, like putting up a wall and a ramp and, you know, just easy things. Maybe doing some edit plays or how to edit a wall, whatever. That way, when they do go into a casual pub, they're a little bit more prepared to go up against kids that are their skill level or better, or even worse. Creative is there to practice. They can get better. If a new player is trying to pick up Fortnite, they should understand that there's going to be a skill gap. They should not be protected and preserved away from all the like good players. It just doesn't make sense. Every game that has ever done skill-based matchmaking has always failed. Call of Duty is getting a lot of criticism right now for having it in Warzone. Apex Legends had a lot of criticism when they added it. Not only that, if a good player steps away from Fortnite for like maybe a month and then comes back, he's going to be going up against kids that are way better than him. But Fortnite still thinks that the player that stepped away for a month is just as good as the kids who have been playing every single day because they have the same win rate. If I stepped away right now and didn't play Fortnite for a whole month, didn't practice, didn't build anything, and I came onto the game, I would still be going up against sweat players that have been playing every single day because Fortnite thinks that I'm still good. There's no casual aspect of Fortnite. Anyway. Now we're going to be talking about the competitive integrity of Fortnite, and this is something that's very big. We're mainly going to be touching on the prize pools, the loot pools, and just the overall competitive integrity of Fortnite. We're going to be talking about the servers and the ping after this, but right now I just want to talk about the prize pools, the loot pools, and just the overall like communication with competitive. I've been playing competitive Fortnite since the World Cup qualifiers, which was a lot of fun, by the way. There's a lot of pro players, including me, that are very upset with the way Fortnite competitive is ran. One thing being the meta right now, and just an example could be taken from a ton of past metas, but just for this meta specifically, there's the mythic items on the map. Like you have the mythic drum gun, the mythic scar, the grappler, mythic minigun, the heavy sniper. You know, things that a lot of people complain about. Sypher had a very good point in his video where he was saying, if you're not going to allow helicopters and you're not going to allow crash pads and you're not going to allow certain items to be in competitive, why are you still allowing these mythic items that are clearly overpowered and clearly unfair in a competitive environment to have, but still be in your tournament? Why? It doesn't make sense. You're not fully committing to what you're saying. The problem with having these items is you're basically allowing certain POIs to be way more overpowered than any other POI in the map. You're allowing somebody that has the mythic minigun to go into endgame and basically fry anybody at any time. It just isn't competitive. It's not balanced. It just, I don't know, like all POIs should be balanced in its own way. There shouldn't be guaranteed launch pads at certain POIs. The launch pad meta, by the way, in my opinion, is garbage, but that's just a personal preference. There should be a set competitive loot pool. I think the loot pool last season, chapter 2 season 1, was actually amazing. Besides the nades were kind of overpowered, but the fact that all you needed really was a shotgun and an AR and you're basically set, like that's what everyone else had pretty much. Like there was no minigun, there was no dynamite, there was no crazy RPGs. There was, you know, it was a very balanced scenario. It was a very good meta in my opinion. I like that a lot, but now it's completely mixed matched. It's all RNG, whether or not you get the good guns or if you land at a heavy or if you land at an insane POI. And it just isn't consistent whatsoever and doesn't make sense to being competitive. Where you look at games like CSGO, which is completely balanced in every aspect. There's no gun in CSGO that is just overpowered. Even in Valorant, besides Raze, obviously, that game is more competitively balanced than anything in Fortnite right now. And that's pretty sad. Another thing I want to talk about is the prize pools in competitive. And I have no problem with how much money they give away. That's not the issue. I could be for like a K and I wouldn't really care. That's not the problem that I have with the prize pools. The problem that I have is that they're splitting up the prize pools in between different inputs. And I don't like that. Like console gets its own separate prize pool from PC. And that just doesn't make sense to me. And that shows that Epic Games doesn't really care too much about the competitive integrity, and they would rather just give out money to everybody and have everybody be a winner. And I personally
don't like that, because if you're on console, you have every right to be able to compete, right? You can compete. My firm belief is that mobile, console, and PC prize pools should be put together and all put into the same tournament. I believe that because then the prize pool overall is bigger for everybody to grind for, and the whole community is competing in one thing. It's not like the whole community is separated. And I know a lot of people are gonna maybe hate me for this, but I really do believe that if you truly want to be a competitive pro player, you should be playing on a PC to compete. Like, it's like, I have no problem with controller players. You can be a controller player on PC, I don't care. But like, console is just a bad input to have a prize pool. Like, they have 60 FPS. They're clearly not support. Like, I played in the console tournament like a month or two ago, and bro, the servers were even worse than they are in today's standards. Like, it just isn't competitive and doesn't make sense. They shouldn't get their own prize pool, especially a prize pool that has more money than a lot of pro players competing in different regions. It just doesn't make sense. So my solution to that: combine the prize pools in all different inputs, mobile, console, PC, put it all together under one roof, have everybody compete against each other. The best player gets it. Pretty sure that's how World Cup was anyway. And everybody loved World Cup. So just go back to that. Now we're going to be talking about the server issues, internet, ping advantages. A lot of people are complaining about how the servers are performing in FNCS. And I completely agree. Like, the servers have never been worse than they are, and it actually doesn't really make sense to me, because Cypher said something in his video that completely didn't make sense to me, where it's like, if you play in a normal pub game, there's 100 people alive in the pregame lobby, when you're on the island before you load in, the game feels great, the game feels fine. But for some reason, whenever you go into an FNCS lobby and there's like maybe 80 people in the pregame island, it feels horrible. It feels like you're on 150 ping. Like, you can't edit, you can't build. It's weird, and it doesn't make any sense. You think it would be better because there's less people alive on the island, but that's not the case. It feels awful, and I don't know why that is. And if you're going to be putting up money on the line, especially a lot of money like Epic Games does, the games need to feel consistent and need to be playable and fair. Something needs to be addressed there. And that ties back into the whole communication thing. Like, it really is just so bad. I don't know what the solution is there, obviously, because I'm not a developer. I don't understand anything about that, but it's just unplayable. It's not fair. It's almost cheap to die in a situation where you can't even really build, and it's unfortunate, and that's very frustrating. I want to talk about ping as well, because there's a lot of players that are very good at the game, like Nanolite and Tifu, people that live in Florida. I live in Florida, and Florida players obviously pull like 50 to 60, sometimes even higher ping, versus going up against players with 0 ping. And I think Fortnite needs to try to figure out ways that it can become a game that allows any ping to be fair and balanced. There should be no advantages to living closer to a server in Fortnite, because it just isn't, it's not competitive, it's not fair. Obviously ping ties into the whole taking walls thing, shooting through walls with miniguns, or just spraying endgame. If you're a Florida player, you're in endgame, you're being sprayed, you can't build. Everything is going to be sprayed through your box, and you're gonna get tagged. Or if somebody's trying to take your wall, they're gonna take your wall, because they have 0 to 10 ping, you're on 50 to 60, and the coin flip obviously doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, Cypher prefaced this in his video as well, and it's just inconsistent. A 0 ping player is going to take somebody's wall over a 50 ping player literally 9 out of 10 times. It'll happen. Fortnite needs to make it fair for all players with different pings to be able to compete. Obviously, if you're pushing 100 ping, that's kind of whatever. But if the difference between 0 and 40 ping is actually pretty damaging. I'm just gonna say that that's something that should be looked at. Now we're gonna be talking about the aim assist debate, which is just the biggest topic everybody wants to talk about now. But I gotta say, I don't really have any problem with controller players. Like, if you're a controller player, I don't think any less of you. Like, there's some pro players that really think you're just a bad person for playing controller, or that you're a cheater or something. I definitely don't believe that, and I think that's just maybe a meme. I don't even know, but that's kind of crazy, because obviously you guys are just playing what you've always played, right? You came up on a controller, and that's what you're used to. You're obviously not going to switch your input. But do I believe aim assist is kind of insane? Yeah, I do. And that's not anybody's fault, really. It's just the fact that controller players got so good over time. Like, it was only a matter of time before controller players were able to build and edit like keyboard and mouse. And it's just gotten to the point where keyboard and mouse players really just aren't motivated to fight against controller players because they can build and edit almost as fast as keyboard and mouse, but they have way better aim. And it is frustrating. Coming from a keyboard and mouse player, it is very frustrating. And, you know, if you're a controller player, I don't want you to take what I'm saying as like me saying aim assist should be banned or whatever. I don't believe that. Aim assist needs to be in the game clearly to balance the fact that you guys are using sticks and stuff to move and to aim. You know, that's crazy. And you guys do deserve props for being able to learn how to build and edit using a controller, because that takes a lot of skill. It's not as easy as a lot of people say it is. All right, I'm just going to say it's not. But maybe something does need to be looked at regarding the aim assist in that regard. Just maybe a little bit of a nerf. You know, there's a difference between aim assist on console. Like on console, 60 FPS, you know, you're playing on like a TV screen. Yeah, you're probably gonna want some aim assist that's pretty overpowered, because nobody's playing keyboard and mouse, you know, and you're playing on a TV with input delay, and it's just, you know, aim assist makes sense there. But now when you're bringing a controller over to PC, now there's more controller players playing on PC than keyboard and mouse, especially in FNCS. With 240 hertz and very good aim assist, I think that's where there starts to become a problem. And I'm not saying get rid of it. I think it needs to be in the game, but maybe just looked at and tweaked a little bit, just a little bit. Because I really do believe it's kind of crazy. And if you don't, and if you're a controller player and you don't acknowledge that, I think you're being a little biased. Okay, I really do. I think you're being just a little biased. Okay. However, I do believe that a lot of people need to kind of relax on the controller thing. You know, when I die, will I be like, oh, he's a controller player? Yeah, I do that, but that's because just in the heat of the moment, I'm a little upset. But I don't believe that controller players are cheaters or anything. I think that's just far-fetched. They definitely should be in the game. And I acknowledge that controller players are literally the main fan base of Fortnite. And there's nothing wrong with that. I welcome all controller players to play, and I'm glad you guys are playing. It makes the game better than what it would be without you guys. I just think that the game needs to be balanced a little bit more. That's all. Another point that I have that a lot of people don't really talk about is I really feel like the influencers and the pro players can do better. Not in regards of like you can do better in game and, you know, get better. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can do better on social media. You can do better using your platform to spread the message, to critique the developers. You know, instead of saying the game is fucking dog shit, fuck the developers, fuck Epic Games, this game sucks, fuck you guys. Instead of saying things like that, you guys have a platform. You need to understand, all right? Some of you kids are very good at the game, and there's probably some pros watching this right now that have a ton of followers that are huge. Even content creators, kids that are so big, that have such an influence on other kids, people that are just casual fans or other pro players that want to be just like them. You coming out and saying hashtag rip Fortnite, saying like this game sucks, the developers, this game's dying, this game is dead. You saying that is going to make everybody subconsciously start to believe that this game is actually going to die, or that it's dead, and that there's no reason to play it. Maybe somebody doesn't actually believe the game is dead, but if they go on Twitter every single day or see Reddit and constantly see this game's dying, this game's dead, just every single day, it's subconsciously in their mind, they're going to start to believe it. Then there's going to be a negative connotation with watching Fortnite, playing Fortnite, or even wanting to create content on Fortnite. It's just this thing in your mind that you start to believe, and it just has this negative connotation in your head that Fortnite is just a bad game and that it's dying and people should stop playing. There's a different way to go about this. There is a more supportive way to go about critiquing developers of video games. And I think this comes from maturity. And you know, back in the day, obviously when I was younger, I would definitely say, you know, this game's dog shit, this game, stupid dog shit game. I would do that if I was younger, but I think now that I've grown up and I've matured a lot and I have a deeper understanding of just, I guess, real world issues, I don't know. I feel like there's just a way better way to go about this. Content creators and pros should be more supportive of the developers. And I'm not trying to kiss Epic. Epic Games is doing a very terrible job, okay? But if Epic Games takes notes that only that everybody in the competitive community only talks shit to them. And what does that tell to sponsors? What does that tell to investors? What does that tell to people over at Epic Games? Why are we investing $10 million into the competitive prize pools if all we get is negative backlash, bad press? You know, what does that say? You know, why are we doing this? You know what I mean? Like, Epic Games is going to turn their back. Like, they basically already have. We need to critique Epic Games in a much more mature way, honestly. Like, we can come out and say there's a lot of issues with the game. We can come out and say that this needs to change. This needs to change. But we don't have to come out and say this game's dead. Game's dying. Moving on to Valorant. Peace out, guys. Because then at that point, you've given up. Then the game truly does die, and then there's no chance. Obviously, this isn't all on us. Epic Games can do better with communication. But this is also kind of our faults. We have put the idea that Fortnite is a dead game all over Twitter. People that don't even play Fortnite now believe Fortnite's a dead game because of the way all the pro players act, because of the way content creators act. Fortnite at fault for most of those things? Yes. But I think we can do better as a community. Come together a little bit more. Be more supportive of each other. Stop being so toxic to each other, talking trash to each other so much. Stop talking trash to the developers who probably are just trying to make the game better, but are doing it in the wrong way. They just need to be put in the right direction, or just critiqued a little bit better. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from. I think it's pretty important that we all continue the conversation of making this game better, because I truly love this game. I know a lot of people truly love this game, and I just want it to be the best it can be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and let's be more mature going forward as a community, okay? All you influencers, pro players, you guys have a responsibility. I know it sounds dumb. Oh, I have a responsibility on the internet. I mean, you kind of do. All these wannabe pro players and all these kids and fans, they look up to you guys, and I can do better myself. Like, I'm not perfect, okay? Like, I am nowhere near perfect, all right? I'm not a God sent role model, bro. I'm just saying we can all do better, you know? And Epic Games can do better. Trust. Pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a normal one. That's it. I'm out. Peace.